Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus House system. In today's video, I want to warn you, this can be a very triggering video. So if you're the type of person that, has a hard time listening to things that could be difficult, that can be life-changing, that can be detrimental, then do not listen to this video, all right? But otherwise, if you want to be prepared for potentially what is to come, then stick around. So let me start this video by saying that I don't consider myself to be a mundane astrologer. I do personal charts, and when I do my monthly videos, I speak to the personal charts. I don't speak about global events all that much. It's like I might mention a couple of things here and there, but it's mostly geared to the natal chart, right? However, this month, July 2025, is an exception because I had a friend call me to check a couple of videos that they saw to check from an astrological point of view if, these two videos could potentially have merit, right, according to the astrology, and they do. So therefore, I decided to make this the topic of this video. Now, in astrology, when astrologers make predictions, we base them on past events, on historical events. Um, if we have the same aspects that we did, which we do for the American Revolution, for the Civil War, for the Second World War, then most likely events similar to that will take place. Now, the exact aspect, like the planets are not in the exact position that they were when these events happened, the American Revolution, the Civil War, and the Second World War, but we do have a Neptune in Aries, we have Saturn in Aries, and we're going to have shortly Uranus and Gemini. So those are the three that indicate, like, hey, heads up, right? So the main concern is the US chart and the aspects that we currently have. Let me first explain the basics like I always do because, this is your first, I hope that this is not the first video that you watch about astrology because astrology is meant to help and not scare people, right? Um, so I will be speaking about Saturn, I will be speaking about Neptune, and I will be speaking about the fixed star called Sheet. Scheat. If you guys want to pull it up and do research, I used a website called astrologyking.com. So I want to give credit to those people that have that website because that's where I found the information on Sheet. I used to have another website, but for whatever reason that got torn down. So I mean it's no longer there. So let me start by explaining that Saturn is the planet that is called the Great Malefic, and Mars is the Lesser Malefic. And for those of you that have watched my videos before, you should all know by now that Saturn rules delays, limitations, obstacles, rules. It rules control, regulations, responsibilities, problems, fears, issues with authorities. But it's also the planet that gives you perseverance, endurance, sticking through difficult challenges that obviously we all have in our lives. It gives you maturity. Saturn rules time and the word no. Saturn says no, not now. You need to wait, okay? Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Oh, and I should say Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, because I use the modern rulership for the degree theory. Now, Neptune rules to escape, to run away, things or people that we lose or that we don't have. It rules mysteries, mystics, secrets, mental diseases and institutions, medicine, pharmacy, hospitals, doctors, isolated places like hospitals, orphanages, monasteries. It rules dancing, especially ballet, dreams, spirituality, photography, film, illusions. It rules the psychic realm, religion, intuition. It rules the night, like nighttime. It rules fog to be like something counterfeit or fake. It rules poisons, drugs, addictions. It rules the seas, the oceans, islands, um, fog, things or, situations or people that we don't see clearly. Wherever you have Neptune in your natal chart is where you don't see things clearly. So if it's a relationship house, you don't see people for who they really are. You think that you dream about having, let's say your Neptune is in the fifth house, a wonderful boyfriend or girlfriend, and this person can do no wrong when everybody else is telling you he's cheating on you or she's cheating on you, and you just don't see things clearly. It also rules, Neptune rules deception, confusion, spies, criminals, oil, natural gas, lies, cheating. It also rules unconditional love because Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, and Neptune rules pandemics. So the fixed star Sheet is in the constellation of Pegasus. Now, the this star relates to Saturn, the energy of Saturn. Now, the things that I'm going to say about Sheet, like I said, I got him from the astrology website called astrologyking.com. So I'm just going to read, has a huge page on the star. I just took little snippets and put them together. So Ptolemy, who was one of the most famous astrologers, it said it had the nature of Mars and Mercury. Simonet, which is another astrologer, said it had the nature of Saturn or the energy of Saturn. Other astrologers combined it to have, Sheet has the energy of Saturn and Mercury. And Alvidas said that if Neptune is in square to Saturn or Mars, it causes extreme misfortune, murder, suicide, and drowning. Now, Sheet, like I said, it's in the shoulder of the constellation Pegasus. And if tied up with a malefic, it could lead the native to lose his life in catastrophes such as floods, shipwrecks, mining accidents, airplane accidents, or suicide. In mundane astrology, with transiting, if Sheet is conjunct the MC or the ascendant, an accident or catastrophe may happen. For example, the first atomic explosion, which was on July 16th, 1945, Sheet was in conjunction to the MC and semi-square Saturn. When the severe Alaskan earthquake occurred on March 27th, 28 of 1964, Sheet was in conjunction to Mars, square the MC and opposite the ascendant. So Sheet is an especially unfortunate star regarding the sea. It is said to indicate danger from the element in the form of tidal waves or violent storms. And for those of you that don't know, Sheet is located at 29 degrees and 24 minutes of Pisces. Okay. So let me see what else. Oh, the constellation gives vision, vanity, intuition, enthusiasm, caprice, and bad judgment. It prevails against diseases of horses and preserves horse riders in battle. Now remember, this is coming from ancient astrology, okay? So we don't have soldiers going out in horses anymore, but you know. The constellation portends events concerning ships and the ocean and also changes in the weather. In medieval times, it is said to indicate vain individuals with great deal of ambition but very poor judgment. In mundane astrology, Pegasus is associated with drowning, accidents, catastrophe, earthquakes, tsunamis, storms, floods, shipwrecks, mining accidents, airplane accidents, falling accidents, shooting down from high places, horses, jockeys, transportations, communications, space travel, exploration, pioneering, science, invention, and heroism. So, now, if Sheet is in conjunction to Saturn, there is a danger of death in infancy, domestic trouble, colds, and consumption, death by drowning or accident, right? The danger of death in catastrophes such as floods, shipwrecks, mining accidents, airplane accidents, or maybe suicide. Now, if Neptune is in conjunction to Sheet, prominent in inventive, occult, or psychic matters, persecuted, peculiar domestic conditions, many accidents, dangers of drowning, the danger of death in catastrophic situations such as floods, shipwrecks, mining accidents, airplane accidents, or suicide. And we have currently now Neptune and Saturn are conjunct. They're not an exact conjunction because that will happen in February of 2026, but they are, you know, right there within minutes of each other. And they're hovering about a minute and 54, excuse me, 1 degree and 54 minutes and like a degree and something else. So when I pull up the charts, I'll show you guys. So, let me do that now so we can get this thing started. No, this is not it. This is not it. Here we go. So let me pull up the chart. There we go. This is the US birth chart with the transits look, you know, July 4th, 2025. Now, for July 4th, like I said, we have Saturn and Neptune here conjunct. And then Sheet is right here, like 29 degrees. And then you can see that Saturn is at 1 degree 52 minutes and Neptune is at 2 degrees and 11 minutes on July 4th. And it is located in the third house of the United States. Now, these two things are, or these two planets, I should say, are opposing Neptune. At, you know, for the United States, Neptune is in Virgo at 22 degrees. And this Mars is very close now to this Neptune. It will conjunct it this month, just so you guys know. And which I will speak further in the video about that. So, as I was saying, the first video that my friend sent me, it talks about a government paper that was issued on April 2024. It's called Event 201 Part 2, that states that on July 4th, something's gonna happen, that they would unleash some kind of virus that would kill humans and animals in Washington, D.C. And then the second video was a clip from Anonymous. And I know that these are hackers. I know very little about these conspiracy theory videos, but Um, I will show you what my friend sent me, and it's 2.5 minutes long. So just stick around, and this is where it's gonna happen. Okay, so that's the video that my friend sent me. Um, it just happens to coincide from an astrological point of view. We have Saturn and Neptune conjunct sheet, so there can be a release of a pandemic. Now, Mars is the ancient ruler of pandemics, and it will conjunct Neptune at 22 degrees, which rules pandemics of the United States by July 20th, like which what I said, I'm going to show you guys the map. So, uh, you know, what can I tell you? 2025, as I had previously stated in the when I did the video, the 2025 like year ahead type of thing, like predictions for the year 2025, I said that there would be danger this summer in the water. So that there was greater risks of flood, storms, um, because the storms will carry greater force, like hurricanes will be like the amount of water that they will have is incredible. So there's a risk of tsunamis. For there to be a risk of tsunamis, that means that earthquakes are going to happen. I don't know of any other thing that can cause a tsunami. So places like Japan, California, Turkey, um, or like underground volcanoes that can erupt and can cause a tsunami. So there's a there's a greater risk of earthquakes that will trigger the tsunamis. Also, shipwrecks, mining accidents. There can be oil spills or natural gas leaks because those things are ruled by Neptune as well. Years ago there was the BP spill, the British Petroleum in the Gulf of Mexico. So that can happen as well. Like I stated in that 2025 video, I think it was in November, December when I released it. If you are on a vacation at the beachside, or if you're taking a cruise, number one, buy travel insurance. But if you are on a beachside vacationing there and you see that the water is retreating, like instead of the waves coming in, the water is retrieving, run, because that is a tsunami that's going to come in. If first it pulls all the water away from the beach, and then the tidal wave hits. If there is a storm coming and you are asked to evacuate, like I said back in that video, be one of the first ones to evacuate. And that's why I said get traveler's insurance, so that way, you don't have any, money is not an issue, right? You'll get reimbursed for whatever. So anyway, that is the first thing I wanted to tell you guys. Now, the second thing is, my friend and I started on a historic trail because, believe it or not, these videos that I put together take a lot of time to compose because, it's you need to get the historical perspective on things, right? So we looked up, based on the video from Anonymous, what could happen, right? And we found, this is the US birth chart. Okay, so this one, yeah, it's the other one. So this one, the USS Liberty. The USS Liberty, and I got the information from Wikipedia, of course. There was an incident that back on June 6, 1967, the USS Liberty was attacked, right? And you guys can, you can Google it and read it, right? But basically, look at this. We have Jupiter in Cancer back then. This is 1967, so that was what, 58 years ago. Jupiter's in Cancer. We had the new moon in Gemini. We had Scorpio in Neptune at 22 degrees. So, and we have Chiron. Good God. Hold on. Let me go back. Where is this? Here we go. The USS Liberty. We had Chiron conjunct Sheet. So that, is significant. Let's just put it that way. And it's in the sixth house of the US. So, and according to Wikipedia, the USS Liberty was decommissioned on June 28th, 1968, the following year. And this is a controversial topic because there's something called a false flag, which I understood from my friend is when country A attacks, but country B is blamed, right? And then a war is started because they think country B is the one that attacked. Now, in the USS Liberty, it was Israel, the one that attacked, quote unquote, by mistake, one of the US Navy ships, the USS Liberty. And the survivors that were on the ship, because there were I think 34 Navy men killed, and there were, I think, like 117 wounded, and so on and so forth. But those survivors said that the attack was deliberate. And then, of course, Israel called it a mistake. So, researching, right? Because if that happened while the aspects are very similar, we started to look at the different Navy ships, right? So then this is basically what we found. Let me see this one. No, this one. Let me get this one off. Um, we went through, oh, and like I said, this is the website for Sheet, right? This is the astrologyking.com. And this is all, you see how all this information, I just, narrowed it down. But anyway, we went through, and then here's the incident with the USS Liberty. We went through the different ships. Now, we looked at the Dwight Eisenhower, but it's not scheduled to be decommissioned. And then we saw the Nimitz. This USS Carl Vinson, it's not scheduled to be decommissioned, but the USS Nimitz is scheduled to be decommissioned. So according to AI, the USS Nimitz is not a spy ship. The USS Liberty was. But it's interesting because it says it's a nuclear power aircraft carrier, the lead ship of the Nimitz class, and the oldest active aircraft carrier in the U.S. Navy. While it can be equipped with advanced surveillance and communication systems, its primary role is to project air power and support other naval operations and not dedicated as a spy, vessel. Now, we looked further. The Nimitz is currently deployed in the Middle East. The USS Liberty went to the Middle East shortly before the attack. It was somewhere else, and then it was sent to the Middle East. The same thing is happening with the USS Nimitz. It was, it's here, June 16th. Where's the cursor here? Here. June 16th, the U.S. Navy is moving the aircraft carrier Nimitz from the Indo-Pacific to the Middle East. A few days before, and it's moving to the Middle East. It is now in the Middle East. And it was sent because there's rising tension between Israel and Iran. So, will history repeat itself? Will the USS Nimitz come under friendly fire, so to speak, by mistake, quote unquote? We are just following what if history is going to repeat itself, because we do have a civil war going on in the United States as we speak, but we have the Revolutionary War aspects and we have the World War II aspects. All three of them all together. So we were looking for events that may happen again, right? That they can be triggered by something like this, what they call a false flag. And then I decided to, let's see, go here. Let's see, this is July 4th. This is July 4th. I'm looking at the transits. So here we go. This one. Now, here. July 20th. And I'm looking, and you can see here, July 20th, these are the transits for the US birth chart. And again, the birth chart is from an astrologer, which I can't remember the name to save my life, but he rectified it. So it has been used very, very well, and things have panned out. Okay. So on July 20th, you have Mars that is in conjunction to Neptune at 22 degrees. And you can tell here Mars is at 18 degrees, 59 minutes. The North Node of Pisces, the North Node is in Pisces at 19 degrees, which if the North Node is at 19 degrees, 44 minutes, that means that the South Node is here where Mars is, right? North Node is here. So South Node is always opposite. So South Node and Mars are conjunct. When was the last time that that happened? And of course, we have the current aspects, right? Jupiter is in Cancer. Uranus by that time is in Gemini. So when was the last time that that happened? 9/11. 9/11, we had the South Node conjunct Mars. North Node is here. South Node is opposite. Mars was at 1 degree of Capricorn. So that means that the South Node was at 3 degrees of Capricorn. So 9/11 happened. What happened after 9/11? President Bush was the president, not the senior, but the junior or the younger one. The Gulf War, right? We went after Osama bin Laden. We went, the United States basically went into war. So what I think is going to happen is exactly that. There's going to be some kind of event that happens, right? Whether it's the Nimitz or whether it's something like a 9/11 thing, because the attacks, according to the anonymous video, would be domestic. So, um, you know, there could be another event like 9/11 or the U.S. carrier. And I'm not saying that the Nimitz is gonna get hit. That's not what I'm saying. But if we look at history, then this can happen. And remember that the U.S. Neptune is at 22 degrees to kill or be killed. We have a Saturn in Aries, which is war, Neptune in Aries. Again, all of the aspects that we have under these three things are here. Then, if that wasn't enough, let me show you the other chart, which is here we go. I just pulled up the new moon on July 24th. And again, this is astro-seek.com. We have Pluto in trine to Uranus. Now, and Pluto is in opposition to the new moon in Leo. Leo rules presidents, right? So Pluto trining Uranus, Pluto rules atomic energy. Pluto also rules communism, but there could be some kind of nuclear event or some kind of attack that is like massive destruction. And it will be easy because there is a trine from Pluto to Uranus right here. This trine makes things that can go, can go really well to to destroy. It's just, now, obviously, what can I say? I hope that nothing like this happens. And this is all just these videos don't come into effect. But if they do, I would err on the side of caution. So if I were you guys, I would not be traveling airspace. Not a good idea because of that Pluto with Uranus. I would not be a, I would just stay home basically this summer and just be prepared as one can be if there is a war that is going to start. I don't know because when the Gulf War happened, I was young and it didn't affect me. I mean, I wasn't even concerned about it. I was going to school and you're not part of it, but all of the um all of the soldiers that went over to, that have fought and stuff like that, then, that's a different story. I just hope that all of this, that it doesn't happen, but if it does, have extra food, water, because there could be also Pluto trining a Uranus could be a cyber attack. So if we lose the internet or some kind of bug is infiltrated into the computers or something like that, if we lose communication, we have no way of knowing what's going on. If there is a cyber attack, I don't think that satellite phones would work either. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theory person, but you know, all of these things can come to a head and it will happen this month. So, or shortly after maybe the new moon, something like that, because Mars will be conjunct that south node. And again, I'm basing this on historical things that have happened before. So it's not that I'm making things up. Okay, so I think, like I said, for the next video, I'll do something completely, nice, right? But I just wanted to let you guys know what the potential is so that you can get prepared as prepared one can be. Batteries, food, water, because if we do lose electricity, the water treatment plants go off, right? I'm sure that they have generators or something like that that they'll keep running for a little bit, but afterwards, we will be without, you know, water, or the water gets contaminated. Neptune conjunct Saturn. So that can cause some kind of pandemic or sickness. Anyway, please send this video if you think it's important to someone else so we can get as many people prepared. And hey, hopefully nothing happens and that's okay, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. At least you see how the astrology works, if anything else. Um, and I wish you all the best. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.